Hello, everyone. Carina, Break Fear, Find Freedom, and today is the awesome day of the month when I am with Dino. So that's an exciting thing on its own, and of course it's February, which is supposedly the month of love. But I think love comes in many forms. And but what do you really love besides your family and friends and partners or whatever that is? That goes without saying. But what other things do you love to do? Like for me, I love cooking. It's like such a beautiful thing to do. It goes in and it's freeing, and I can be creative and just lose myself in ingredients and then share the bounty with everyone around me. So what do you love to do just because you can? Well, on that note, hello, Dino. How are you today?
Good. I should stop in. This is my once a month stop in for great compliments. I love it. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good, thank you. And thank you for being here. It's like so cool to have our conversations. Like I always say, that's one other thing I love is our conversations.
Yeah. It's good to catch up, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So first of all, how's your month been? And then what do you love to do?
It's been great. And second question, everything. I'm really into stretching my comfort zones, and you realize it more when you look at it a certain way. But we can get into that. But so cooking, huh? Cooking.
Yes.
The interesting thing, true story, is I'm not going to mention which, but during one of my marriages, I've been watching the cooking channel, since it started. So, I love watching what they do, and then you can kind of add your own spin. I don't really follow recipes, but so the first thing that I made was linguine and clams, and I was really, really heavy on the pepper because I was rusty. And because of that bad dish, she believed that I can't cook. So literally for 8 years, she's like, stay out of the kitchen because we know you can't cook. And
wow.
I just closed, cringed my teeth, and I was just like, okay, you know what? Just let it go. Whatever. Red flag number one, folks. Don't let anything go. You got to confront and talk about it.
Yes,
but anyway,
yes.
So it wasn't until the next relationship that I had. It was like, do you cook? And I'm like, well, yeah, I do, but I haven't cooked in like 8 years. So then I started cooking, and it all came back, and it was just a pleasant experience. And I was like the grill master and all this other stuff. So yeah, there is great pleasure in cooking. Even if you're not good, it's still something that you could try different things. It's kind of cool.
Yes. But I think it's like everything that you do, you try it. And you know what? When your first dish isn't going to be the best, and big deal if you had too much pepper. The next one you change.
Well, it was a lot of pepper. It was a lot of pepper. I got a little excited, and it was just like you cry with every bite, and it's not tears of joy, it's pain because it was really hot. So,
but that's fine. You could have just made a change the next time. That's what cooking's about.
Look, we're having fun. You know what I mean? It's good to tell stories. At the time, it didn't feel great. At the time, I was really angry about it. You know what I mean? How do you shout and vocalize how you're feeling and, to somebody that's probably going to take it the wrong way? And I wasn't prepared with those types of skills yet, believe it or not. So I just decided to keep my mouth shut. That's like a powder keg, folks, waiting to happen.
Yes.
That's like one day, maybe not now, but later, like the Seinfeld episode. Serenity now, insanity later. Trust me on that one.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So what I'm getting at, if is a problem, just like talk it out somehow.
Yeah, of course. You got to find a tactful way, and you got to present it in an open, honest way. I mean, this is communication skills 101. I'm the worst guy to give anybody love advice, but at the same time, maybe not, old soul. and all the things, the traditional things that go with it. I'm a big believer in that too. So interesting that we bring this up. Interesting topic, because I like to share experiences, and if I may,
Yes.
I'd like to share an interesting one today. That I'm not real big on demographics, but if we had to talk today, this subject covers people our age, maybe a little older. Most times I don't act my age, but today I will try to. I'll be very mature about it.
Age is a number.
Very interesting how I'm seeing a different perspective that I never noticed before. And I'm pretty sure, hopefully, this show will help somebody. So it's all about relevancy.
Yes.
And it's so appropriate to talk about relevancy in a very, very fast-paced, changing world, right? You hear all the time, social influencers, oh, you got to get a hire a social influencer. All that is just somebody that puts their finger on something. Hopefully they believe in it. So I can't really say that they always do, but as long as they put their finger on it and endorse it, oh, they love it, so I love it. And, here come the sales and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a different world. It's a different world than I remember. I'm positive it's a different world than a lot of people remember. And it could be frightening. It could be filled with anxiety. It could be filled with discomfort, self-doubt, you name it. And so the reason I'm talking about this today is because, again, I was on a 3-city tour. And look, even I want to make a living, you know what I mean? You want to get taken care of, take care of your time and stuff like that. And in this new world, usually what you do, you want to tout it out, not in a bragging way, but hey, this is what I do. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, LinkedIn does it, Facebook, Instagram, all the social platforms. And so I did some killer speeches, I think. I'll just say, I was very happy with the performance, the delivery. It was heartfelt. It was good. It resonated. People were excited. And something inside me told me, I asked the people, I'm like, this would be really good if I can record this, because a lot of people ask, oh, you're a speaker. Let's see some of your work. And my answer is I can't. Not because I'm afraid. I can't, because most of the things that I do are private. You can't share, faces and names with the world when you're dealing with addiction.
Yeah,
okay?
Of course.
I mean, it's a personal choice if you want to vocalize it, and if you do, and I'm proud of them. You know who you are. But for the most part, some people take a leave of absence to get treatment, to whatever, to recover. And there's no shame in that. But then they have to go back to their jobs. And upon going back to their jobs, the last thing they want is an idiot like me saying, hey, look what I did. And then their face is there. Oh, hey, you were an alcoholic, or you're a drug addict, Do you understand?
Yeah,
so it's a frustrating dynamic for me. And it bothered me. I'm not going to lie to you. It bothered me. And I started, with all things that bother me now in my older age, I start thinking it through. Why is this bothering me? Is it bothering me because I can't brag about it? Is it bothering me, And I came to the conclusion that, look, you chose to help people. And help people with really expecting nothing in return. If you get it, great. If you don't, you get it some other way. I'm a firm believer in that. But at the same time, you chose something that you can't vocalize or cheapen for the cheap seats there, just so you could show, look what I did. It's not about me. It's about them.
Yeah.
And so I got comfortable with that. Now, fast forward, I'm sitting on a plane next to somebody probably, I don't know, let's be generous, 5 to 10 years older than me, right? And, making a living is not a crime. Wanting or needing to earn a paycheck is what we do, right? That's what we do. You can't spend all your money to infinity and not have some kind of revenue stream coming in. I mean, it's foolish. So understand that this person needs a job, okay? And this person just left didn't just leave their job, left their job a while ago, but started finding out that, it costs money to live and inflation and all this other stuff. And, I need to earn a paycheck. Trying to go back into the workforce now.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay. Now, it sounds great. You see all the statistics. Oh, well, the job market couldn't be stronger, and there's so many available jobs. There's 1 million available jobs, and blah, 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 blah. I get that, okay? Let's take statistics aside and just take the emotional toll, right? The way they felt, the way they were describing their job search to me was, really kind of eye-opening because, you wake up one day and you're in a completely different world. There's no resumes that you write. There's no place that you call anymore to go in for an interview, to shake somebody's hands. Everything's very impersonal. So you know me, I'm going to try something.
Yes, of course.
I got back, Wednesday night. Yesterday, I tried it, right? So you go on and, you look for a job. How do you look for a job? There's no newspapers anymore that you could kind of look through everything, right? And everything that I found was, you join, right? Or subscribe, or enter your email, upload your resume, and I'm thinking for myself, I haven't had a W-2 since 1993, okay? What resume? What would I put in a job search? Well, I did this and I did this and I did, that it doesn't fit in the box. You can't put that. So what do you put in there? And then when you call to explain this to somebody, you get contact us. No phone number, just contact us. And then you have to wait for an impersonal response or a robotic response. And when it comes back, it's just fill this thing so I can send it because it's incomplete. And then you start getting bombarded by, jobs that have nothing to do with you all over the country. And, in order for you to call on it, you have to click, oh, wait, I didn't register with Indeed. I didn't register with this, so now I got to register. It's just the weirdest thing, Carina. And I can understand where a tremendous amount of anxiety comes with that, right? That's one. Two is you see a lot of these new testimonials and things like that on this new, the social platforms, the websites and stuff like that. All of them say, we could do this, we could do that. We're licensed, we're qualified, we're masters of this, masters of that, and everything like that. But very few of them that I saw had real experience, like age experience. In other words, you could blow me away on technology and computers and all that stuff today, right? I'll admit it. From what I experienced yesterday, oh my gosh, you're just like, if you ever want to have anxiety, try what I did and you'll see. You're just like, I'm irrelevant. That's how you feel. And like everything that I feel, again, in my older age, I stop and I think about. And so I thought about this. I'm like, well, they're excelling in this. They're excelling in that. They're relying on social platforms. They're relying on all this, I call it trickery. It may not be, but that's what I look at it, when you're in that frame of mind. And it's like smoke and mirrors and stuff like that. But what are they all missing? They're all missing real experience.
Yes.
Like, you get a 20-something-year-old that says, well, I did this and I did this and I was successful and I made this much money by the time I was 24 and all that stuff. And that's great. Until you think about when you got out of college, you were 21, 22 years old. You've had 2 years experience working. You don't know what it feels like maybe to fail. You don't know what it feels like to hit a brick wall. You don't know what it feels like to have to adjust with an ever-changing world and adapt and come back with responses. You certainly don't know what it's like to put out a fire. And when I mean fire, everybody who works knows what I'm talking about. It's a 5-alarm fire that happens, especially when it's really, really calm and you think everything's great and you're ready to take a deep breath and say, it's going to be a great weekend. And all of a sudden something happens where it's like, drop what you're doing. Okay, it's time to put out this fire. I think these younger, inexperienced people would like, what do I do? Where somebody more experienced, like an air traffic controller, would be like, okay, this plane's okay because it's further away from danger. This one's the most in danger, so I'm going to concentrate on this and methodically put out every aspect of the fire calmly. Sometimes it takes face-to-face interaction. Sometimes I'll say it. It comes with a big word, starts with a T, called trust. That's only established with a long-term relationship and a handshake and maybe a dinner or two and a conversation. These are things that person with 2 years of work experience will never experience yet. Doesn't make them a bad person. It just means that that's part of the evolution too. So all of a sudden, where I thought that I was irrelevant, now I'm starting to see, well, maybe there is relevancy in it. You see? There's always going to be a need for an old Jedi because experience is priceless. Experience is priceless. Now, the old way is you'd work for a company. You may work there for 40 years or 30 years. You get your 401k, your benefits, you get your gold watch and you retire. You got a retirement package and, you choose what you want to do for the rest of your life, obviously within your means. But you have a nice life and there's nothing wrong with doing that. In today's world, I'm starting to find that it may mean, if you're a free floater like me, it may mean that you have revenue streams from many things, not just one. Yes. Right? The day where you grow up and you say, I want to be a fireman and only a fireman, I think are pretty much coming to an end. The exciting part is that I could say, I want to be a fireman and I want to be a doctor and I want to be a writer and I want to be a teacher. And the answer today is probably yes. You can do all of them at the same time. You see, so when you look at something like, oh, wow, this is a changed world and oh my God, I'm obsolete, I'm irrelevant, nobody wants me. You can, you can believe that. Or you can also come in from the standpoint that, well, with this changing world, there's one thing that's constant, and that's experience. So how do you vocalize that experience? How do you vocalize that you are experienced? Well, I'm not going to tell you how to do that. You can post what you do. You can plug what you do. You can show and tell what you do. You can write about what you do. That part's irrelevant. The point is that start believing, older people like me or older, that you're marketable. You're still marketable. The world needs more storytellers. And we are storytellers. Storytelling comes with a set of experience, real experience, life experience that you cannot buy with a social influencer. You cannot buy them by reading a book or watching a movie. You have to live it. And that's one thing that the youngsters cannot compete with us because they haven't lived it yet. We have.
Yes, now that's beautiful. And I love your change of perspective. So it's from being like, oh, I'm like, look at this, I can't do this, I'm totally irrelevant, what am I going to do? To like, no, you know what? I am relevant and I can make a difference and I can impact a whole lot of people.
You can.
And I can mentor people and show people and do all these things. And that already changes the whole trajectory of things and your whole energy, right? So you're more excited and you see all the possibilities.
The main thing is it starts with an attitude. What a difference a day makes. And look, I know you're an empath and you feel things. I'm not an empath, but sometimes I feel things. And what my goal was yesterday is to get in the shoes of the person that was on the plane and how they were feeling. And the only way for me to do that was to try myself. Okay, Dino, this big shot, you're Mr. This, you're Mr. That, you did this, you did that. I should have no problem getting a job, right? But surprise, surprise, me going on, my limited experience with computers and technology and all that stuff, it doesn't matter. But you know what? You have to go through the steps to apply. And in going through the steps to apply, I was like, holy cow. Man, am I a dinosaur? Man, am I a fossil? And I started feeling bad. I'm like, you know what? If something happened tomorrow, how am I going to get a job? And so it was a lot of, again, deep dives and soul searching, and it all starts with your attitude.
Yes.
I watched Shark Tank last night. Sometimes I like to do that. And I like comparing real life to TV life and stuff like that. I'm not taking anything away from these sharks, billionaires, 100 millionaires, whatever they are. It doesn't matter. They all work very hard for it. And I really believe that nobody really just tripped over something and it's some of them that it seems like it was accelerated, that it was lucky. They just stumbled across a perfect timed thing. I know because at the time Bug Ban was the same thing. It was a perfectly, the climate was right, the time was right, the attitude was right. If I had to recreate something like that today, it probably wouldn't have been that quick of a success story. Only because, you got to have all the ingredients in place. And, it was like a rainy season. They were talking about malaria. You get me? Yes, so I'm not taking anything away from these sharks, but almost always when people come up in front of them and talk about an idea to invest in, I noticed yesterday they all fell back on less on world experience and more on, you understand, I'm in 400,000 stores in America, and so I could just take your product and easily plug it into these retail stores and you'd be a success. Or you understand, I have a connection with the QVC, so if I put your thing on QVC, it could be successful. You understand that I have a way to, really push this thing where we could dominate the airspace on social media.
Yeah.
All those things sound great. And I'm not saying that anything they touch doesn't work. I mean, obviously it works. But somebody who's gone through it knows that there's a little BS to what they're saying too, right? As an example, you don't get 400,000 retail stores unless somebody busted their butt to get them, either one at a time or probably making great relationships with wholesale dealers and distributors who already had this pipeline. But the way you get it in is you start with the relationship. That's one. Two, just because I have 400,000 retail stores doesn't mean that everything I introduce is going to be put in. Okay? Let's not forget that these people are on a syndicated show. Right?
Yes.
If I say that I'm in Walmart, Walmart knows they're getting free advertising instead of paying millions of dollars. Yeah, we'll take your product. Maybe they'll buy a box, but still you'll say, well, I'm in Walmart. Well, are you? Or is there just a box in a Walmart store, right? The thing is again, I mean, it's like we've gotten to a point where the hard work is ignored. The long-term reputation has been ignored, and it's all immediacy. It's all using the magic of influencers and name droppers and who you know, not what you know, and stuff like that. And you could lose your mind believing this stuff, right?
Very easily.
If I invented this cup and I saw Shark Tank, I'd take this cup and I'd throw it down the street and I'd say, there's no way I'm going to make it. These guys know everything. They got all the retail stores locked. They got all the social influencers locked. I'm not on TV. I got to get on a TV show. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. You know, you're talking about the very, very smallest percentage that are going to do that. The greatest percentage, most of us, are not. So what do? Do we just sit back and succumb to irrelevancy? Or do we just say, you know what? There's still a market out there for me. There's still real people. And instead of looking to have 1 million likes or go viral or, you know, whatever, or get on TV or be interviewed by, you know, Good Morning America, maybe I should concentrate on my own circle of influence, which is the most powerful, right? Yes. Now, within your own circle of influence, you're a very popular person. Within your circle of influence, we know business owners, we know managers, we know people that do 1 million different things, right? And it's basically connecting maybe through them that you'll be that popular network star, but in your own little world. See what I mean?
Yes.
So people mistake being able to make a great living, even a successful living, a rock star living, just on their circle of influence. Not prey on your friends. That's not what I'm talking about.
No.
Hey, you make the handle for my mug. I didn't know that. You know, I'm developing a mug, and I'd like your handle. And to sit there and go out to the real world, they want credit terms, and they want this, and they want this. You know me. We go to church together. We hang out together. We have a cup of coffee. You see, there's your name dropping, and I didn't even have to be on TV. Yes. Wow. Ooh, must be nice. You get favors. Well, do you? I mean, everybody's got a circle of influence.
Yes.
So I'm bringing this up today not to do a sermon, but I'm bringing this up because it was a true revelation for me. Somebody that really doesn't believe in the social stuff. I love the likes. I love the attention. Believe me, I like seeing how many people like my posts. Thank you. But more than that, I can't expect to run a successful business just because 1 million people like my post. Make sense?
Yes, because it's beautiful to have the likes, but they're worthless, really, at the end of the day.
They feed your ego. They make you feel nice and everything like that and stuff. And I guess that's important. You know, it is dopamine. Just don't get hooked on it. Don't get a big head. But it's nice to be liked.
Of course. Of course.
You know, so let's not take away from that. But, you know, again, to the mid-50ers and up, and I'm putting myself in this category, I understand better now the anxiety that sometimes comes with the end of, or perceived end of, somebody's career. Should I retire? Shouldn't I? Will I have enough money to last me? As if you're never going to do anything productive again. And you know, some people can do that. Some people go on vacation, and you know, some of my family members, they're retired. They've been retired for many years. They go on cruises, some of them 180 days long, and that's great. That doesn't represent most people, I don't think. Most people, when they go into retirement, fear boredom. They fear feeling irrelevant. They fear running out of income. They fear, which I didn't think about before, medical. What happens if I have something serious that comes up? Will insurance cover it? Supplemental insurance, how much is that going to cost? There's all kinds of things that I never thought about that people my age and older think about. And so the anxiety level is going up, 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 up. And then add into that the impersonal world of just simply trying to apply for a job, right? Bombarded by all these people that dominate the social platforms, the Kardashians and this, I can't even name them anymore. That it's like, oh my God, she got 250,000 likes in 2 minutes, you know, and people pay a lot of money for her or him just to pick up something and say, you know what, when I'm in town here, I always go here. Oh, I got to try it too. They have an impact, right? And they get paid for this stuff. They don't do it out of generosity. Trust me, they get paid for this stuff.
Oh, of course,
there's nothing wrong with getting paid for this stuff. But at the same time, if the whole new world is dominated by this kind of immediacy and results, then you start thinking to yourself, all I got to do is pay, and I can be successful too. Not so fast. That doesn't really happen. The majority of the time, it doesn't happen, right? So what do we have that nobody can take away from us in this new changing, ever-changing world? We have experience, which in my opinion is priceless, which in my opinion, somebody would pay for. The 24-year-old at some point, if they saw my ad, if I could still go back and refer to a newspaper where you put in an ad, I do consulting. Maybe that 24-year-old one day would call me, and maybe I'd charge $500. Maybe I'd charge who knows? But the point is, we are marketable.
Yes, yes.
And I guess it makes me feel better today thinking about it that way than the way I did yesterday.
Yes. So it's always about a change of perception.
Yeah.
But also what I was also thinking about while you were speaking is the person who comes to retirement, so they retire from the corporate world or whatever, and you have to change that attitude. Of course, you've got to realize that it's actually an exciting time, because now maybe, just maybe, they can start doing what they've wanted to do all the time. So you can go out and paint if you want to paint, or create cook if you want to cook, and create a business out of that. So that's also a possibility, right? And who knows? I mean, a lot of people, you see people that are in their 70s that have written books and have become famous, right? Because they've given themselves that permission to do what they've wanted to do all their lives, but because of society or work or whatever it is, they never did.
Yeah, and it's tough, by the way, to write a book while you have a full-time job. I mean, it took me writing 12 hours, sometimes 14 hours a day. It took me 7 months to write a book. If I had a job, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it came to writing, because I never wrote before. It was a learning curve. Now I have a new trait. Now I know how to publish somebody's book. Now I know how to ghostwrite somebody's book. And believe it or not, what I went through was excruciating, but the side effect was I got a book out there that's touching people. The side effect that I didn't expect is now I'm getting calls, and you know this because we're already doing a few. I'm thinking about writing a book, but I don't want to write it. I want to ghostwrite. Do you do that? Yes, I do that. And I also can help you publish your book. And I also can do the PR for your book. I never would be able to say that unless I went through it myself. And the horrible experience I first came up with ghostwriters, where I actually had to fire 6 ghostwriters and then just say, you know what? The only way this is going to get done is for me to do it myself. But anyway, that's a different story. But again, I mean, good things do come out. Unexpected things do come out. But like today, I can say, you mentioned painting. You could paint something for pleasure, for yourself, but also like if I was into painting and stuff like that, I may paint something. Where do I put it? Well, there's places like Macari and Pinterest and I don't know, all those things that people do. You can put it on there. You could probably make $30, maybe $100. I don't know. But the point is, there's so many different avenues today. Now,
I know, that's right. We're living in such a beautiful time. I mean, it's you might think you're irrelevant, but we're not, because there's so many opportunities. Like I put out my newsletter yesterday, and I do something every week. I do a message in the clouds, right? I've just come up with it. But what I've done now is I've created a NFT. So I've taken the photo and then put it as an NFT. Like, that's very cool. And so now you can buy it, and you can keep this. You can keep the message in the clouds if you want it. There's just so many opportunities. I mean, of course, you have to be discerning, because there's also a lot of scammers. I mean, we've experienced, we won't even go into all these things that we've experienced in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Scammers, so you have to be careful.
Yeah, and even NFTs, I will tell you, even if it's like a friend or somebody's friend's friend or whatever, and they start mentioning this crypto, I'm not a big believer in that. And I was approached with NFT prospect, and it was a nightmare. I won't get into it right now, but it wasn't a pleasant moment. But you have to have a discerning eye. I still believe you should go with your gut, because the red flags for me were always there. I know something that you shared off screen, the red flags were there as well.
Yes.
But I guess my point is that where initially the older generation would look at, okay, I retire and I'm going to be a painter. Well, that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to paint. And I better make some money. And I hope I can make $300 a month on that. I hope I can make $1,000. The perspective I'm bringing today is maybe I could be a painter and a writer and a consultant all at the same time.
Yes.
And still be retired.
Yes, of course. You live
maybe
life
I'll
on
one consulting job a year. Am I going to turn it away if somebody asks me for help and I can make a few bucks on it at the same time? No. Am I going to turn away if I decided to paint something? I don't want to keep it, but I don't want to throw it away. Maybe I'll sell it. So it's revenue stream and reward, right? Another revenue stream and reward. And that's what makes the new world go round. It's not a thing, it's everything. Which is how I answered you when we first started. Everything.
You did.
And that's why I went into what I went into, because this, guys, this is real-time stuff, right? So this isn't rehearsed, number one. But number two is, I think the best stories to tell are the ones that happened to me. And even the ones as recent as a few days ago, I could take and learn, digest, and share. That's a beautiful thing, right?
It is beautiful.
So I'm sure you were going to talk about something else today. But I just wanted to, since we talk like once a month, I just wanted to bring that up. For, over 60% of my audience is my age demographic. Let's face it, it's 50. Yes. There's young people too, and I'm very happy about that, mostly in recovery and addiction and stuff like that. But the other side of the coin is the business stuff, the old soul kind of stuff and stuff. The majority of the following is my age or older. Yes. That are still alive. They're still, we didn't throw them out. Oh, you're 80, you're out.
No,
you may live another 20 years. What are you going to do in those 20 years? Just stare at a palm tree?
No.
People are living longer than ever before, and vacations are great, but only vacations, to me anyway, I'm not speaking for everybody, it's not going to do it. It's not going to cut it. I have to feel fulfilled. And at the same time, what I do is fulfilling, although it is fulfilling. It costs a lot of money to get on a plane and stay at a hotel and rent a car and do all these things. And so it's not a crime for somebody to say, I want to help people, but I just want to get covered for my time. That's capitalism. We're in America.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
It works. Okay? You're not going to charge $1 million for your appearance, but at the same time, hey, you know what? You add up today's prices for a hotel, even a frugal hotel, and a flight and a meal and renting a car, and you'll easily see, a couple $1,000. Whoa. Now do that all the time, and you're going to go into your nest egg and spend your nest egg and then some. That's not what I'm talking about. But, I think at the very core, 70, 80, and 90-year-olds still want to feel fulfilled. And maybe with a 90-year-old, it would just be the relevancy of being asked a question about experience or about life, and enjoy hearing the response. and not cutting them off and not saying, oh, yeah, I know that. I Googled it. You didn't Google this man's life or this woman's life. You better just shut up and listen, because you may learn something.
Yes.
The world needs more storytellers. I love the elderly. Yes. I love the 80, 90, 100-year-olds that I've met in my circle or even around the country, because they bring such a cool perspective to the table of simpler times, yet they've evolved too. Think about a person who is 90 or 100 years old, and we think our times change. Well, we don't use paper. Well, we just complained about. Think about them.
Yes. How many
they were cranking up an automobile at that time, for Christ's sakes. They were riding a horse to school. They've seen cars. They've seen planes. They've seen the internet. They've seen phones. They've seen wars. They've seen famine. They've seen stock market crashes. They've seen all kinds of stuff that we can only read about in a book unless we pay attention and consume their stories, so that we have a bigger library in our brain of what we might expect. That's valuable too.
Yes.
Now, if you are a 90-year-old or a 100-year-old, they're not going to charge you for their time. So a little tip, that's free advice. But, if somebody repetitively in business was asking me, hey, I need help with this. What do you think about this? Can you read this contract? I'm going to say, you know what? I don't do this for free. I'm going to charge you for my time. That's what a consultant is.
That's the most important thing. That's the only thing that we have that's it's finite. Like, we spend time, we need to be compensated for that.
But so you're not a slave to your job. You're not a slave to money. I'll say it. There's stuff way more important than money. But at the same time, understand that some money, just the basic money, to put food on the table, transportation, keep the lights on, that's not a bad thing. And just because you have a nest egg doesn't mean that you should be tapping your nest egg to do those things. You should be able to have a few revenue streams. We used to have garage sales, all the stuff that everybody's got clutter somewhere. And you just sit and watch it, and you're just like, I wonder if I'm going to use this again, or maybe not. I'm thinking about getting rid of it, but it's too cold to have a garage sale or whatever. You don't need, the weather has nothing to do with having a garage sale now. Now everything's a virtual garage sale. Yes. You buy and sell on eBay, Mercari, Pinterest, you name it. And people do full-time jobs on that, by the way. I wouldn't recommend it. It's a lot of work, but if that's what you like, that's what you like. I guess my point is that this is a scary time. It's changing time. It's terrifying. But at the same time, if you embrace, I guess, part of the example that I was trying to give, it's also an exciting time if you just take your expectations down a level. And if I'm expecting, let's just say I would make $1,000 on just this, maybe I'll make 50, but maybe there's 20 other things that I can also do that bring in, and that's still $1,000, right? So you're open to be able to do many things now, an exciting time, instead of just one thing. Yes. Well, he was a dry cleaner for 40 years. So, there's no dry cleaning jobs left. Stop thinking like that, right? Yes. Well, I was a teacher for X amount of years. To get a teaching job at my age is really hard. Yeah, stop thinking like that. You see? Yes. This time is very exciting for people like me that get bored. I couldn't sit I commend people that can sit in a teaching job or any job for 40 years. For me, this is very exciting time because there's so much potential, there's so much possibilities, and we can tap into so many things. So like you were saying, you've got all the different income streams, and you're learning all the time.
And you're growing and learning and growing and learning, and that makes it exciting as well.
Yeah.
So you have to change that perception and see it as exciting rather than scary.
Right. And I think a lot of the eye-opening is easier for me to see because, again, like there's no secret. When I was young, 16 years old to the 24-year-old range, I did nothing that didn't involve hanging around older people, experienced people, and I would sit and really listen to them. Yeah, I didn't really hit the books. I didn't really like the books. I didn't like theory. And, for me, it turned out to be a good thing because I was picking, even at that time, I knew that experience is priceless because when I am 24 and there's a 5-alarm fire, no, I didn't go through it myself, but I know 5 people that I basically have talked to since I was 16 who showed me, like carefully explained to me, or I watched firsthand what they would do when they had their 5-alarm fire.
Yes,
so I was, and so other people my age at 24 would be like, "Oh my God, how do you stay so calm? How do you do it?" And I would say, "I don't know, but if you really think about it, I do know now. Now, this is just a revelation, but I do know now better because I hung around the people that had real world experience, not the people that read a book that had straight A's or master's degrees. I'm not knocking those people. I mean, I respect that a lot. But a master's degree alone isn't going to tell you about the politics involved in the business or the pitfalls or the unexpected things that happen, and they do, or the personalities of people that you have working with you or for you. There's, just watch a reality show. Okay, I know a lot of times people are like, this isn't real. It probably isn't, but the point is, I mean, the problems are real. We all go through them. We all have these skeletons in our closet, and we're not here to call them out. But everybody goes through some horrific things. Sometimes you'll never know. You can walk out and look like a normal person, not understanding that you probably have a horrible situation that just happened in the house. Who would know? So these aren't just theory. This isn't just reality TV. Everybody goes through those times. So how do you handle, when you have 100 people that have their moments, their crises, their personal addictions or anxiety or whatever, and they bring their crap to work? So now you've also become kind of a psychiatrist or a psychologist because you really, you're not qualified, but sometimes they'll suck you into their problems, or sometimes you'll have the problem and they feel that energy too. What does that mean for a business owner? Productivity flatlines or worse, dips. You get a bad reputation. You get people that aren't loyal. You get people that lost faith in you or trust in you. All the negatives that happen, and they've all happened to me too.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is reading a book isn't going to do it for you. Okay? So good for us. So everybody out there, my age or older, love you all. And somehow I felt I needed to share that today.
Well, thank you. That was it was very relevant as well. And again, I want to put a thought out to the people that because a lot of people say, "Oh, you know what? You're old. You don't know anything," and you get that kind of attitude, right? Which is sad. Again, like you were saying. But you also must realize that if you learn or you listen to the stories of older people, you don't have to make those mistakes. Okay, of course, you'll make your mistakes, but you learn from those mistakes. Like you managed to, when you had those businesses, you managed to put out the fires, to be calm, to have all those experiences because you had learned from your mentors, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't have to go through those experiences. Of course, you made your own mistakes. But then you make your own mistakes. You don't have to make the mistakes of the past. Just
Right. Or
My
it's just a guiding thing. We talked about the Food Network, right? Although they show you the proper way, what did I say? Well, once you learn the foundations, then you put your own spin on it. So
Yes, of course.
right away, I'm not following them exactly. And right away, look what happened with the linguine and clams. It was too peppery. It cost me 8 years of cooking.
Yes.
But I recovered. And for everybody out there, I survived. So anyway,
So are you cooking now?
Huh?
Are you cooking now?
Yeah, well, right now is a really busy time, so I'm not really at home much to eat, but I can grill with the best of them. Let's just put it that way, and I enjoy it. I also enjoy other people trying my food and loving it. That's satisfaction. But that's another show. I'll have a grilling show in the summer. With a backyard setting and stuff like that. That'll be fun. But for right now, other things to do. But this was a good segment. I wish everybody a wonderful Friday. I wish you a wonderful Friday and weekend. And remember, you're still relevant. You're still relevant. So try and keep it together. We're the last of the Jedi, and that actually is a good thing. So
yes.
Till next time.
Thank you, everyone. This was awesome. Thank you, Dino, again for the this great show again, and we'll see you again.
Okay, take care.
Thanks.